Ladies and gentlemen, you are going to hear former President Donald Trump at CPAC all throughout this live stream. Hit subscribe to this channel. I will have a live stream tomorrow at about 3 p.m. Pacific time, and then in the evening tomorrow evening at around 8, 9 p.m. Pacific time as well. So I'll have two live streams tomorrow. Be here for the live streams tomorrow. We're going to also talk about the CPAC speech, but hit subscribe to my super chat. I cannot do this without you, ladies and gentlemen. Your super chat support is greatly, greatly appreciated. If you enjoy these live streams, your support is just greatly appreciated. This is Benny Johnson on Twitter. I don't have Twitter. I don't have Facebook, but we're going to get right to it. I just have this channel, H.A. Goodman, and H.A. Goodman's other channel. And I think that this next year and a half before November of 2024 is going to be the most important year and a half, 2 years in recent American history. Paul Bartlett, thank you. Paul Bartlett, my man, thank you so very much. My super chat is so supportive and important. I cannot do this without you. Paul, thank you. You know what? The next couple of year and a half, 2 years is going to be so important. And today, Trump showed exactly why it is a moral imperative. If you want to talk about morality in politics, it is a moral imperative to vote for Trump. We're going to get to that all throughout this live stream. Hit subscribe. My super chat, thank you. Let's get started. Paul Bartlett, thank you again. As always, Paul, let's get started. Let me know if you can hear. I'm messing around a little bit with the audio, so let me know if you can hear this all right. This is from, I don't have Twitter, I don't have Facebook, I just have H.A. Goodman and H.A. Goodman's other channel. We're over 200,000 subs because of you. Let's see if we can get this right, okay? So let me know if you can hear.
But we are never going back to the party of Paul Ryan, Karl Rove, and Jeb Bush.
Did you hear that okay? Let me know if you heard that all right. That's the whole point. Thank you. Zandog, thank you. Nevada Maverick, hello. Kristen, Conscious Citizen, hello. When do we talk about Trump's nation? Eric, hello. Kristen, hello. Onyx, hello. So that is the most important part of the speech today, but there were so many important. That's one of the most important things he said. Let's listen to it again. It's just so important for a number of reasons, because if you're against never-ending military conflict, see, here's the thing. Paul Bartlett, everybody here, thank you, Paul. People on the left, Democrats, morally superior, progressives, liberals, they're beautiful people, they're wonderful people, but they don't really care about foreign policy. And you do have people like Jimmy Dore who care very much about foreign policy, okay? But you have most people on the left, Democrats, don't care. Most pundits, almost every pundit, does not make preventing wars a big objective in terms of what they want to accomplish politically. They don't care. It's kind of like I've been told to my face by a number of morally superior, highly educated liberal Democrats, who cares? I say, well, Trump is preventing never-ending military conflict. Who cares? They don't care. They literally don't care. They care about his personality. So Bush, Cheney, and Rumsfeld was the old school Republican Party. Not avoiding it. I don't really. I disagree. I disagree respectfully, but there's no point to how do I put it? There's nothing. How do I say this? Um, the people there deserve a state. So I think that throughout that region of the world, every background has a state. Why people focus on that one state? I had my bar mitzvah in that one state. That's something that I don't understand. Anyway, let's listen to this again.
But we are never going back to the party of Paul Ryan, Karl Rove, and Jeb Bush.
Let's listen to it again.
But we are never going back to the party of Paul Ryan, Karl Rove, and Jeb Bush.
That is really the reason. That is the number one reason why Trump won the 2016. He defeated Clinton. That's the number one reason why Trump defeated Clinton. And it's the number one reason why I'm voting for Trump in 24 and I voted for him in 2020. The fact that he took the political party away from the never-ending war, never-ending military conflict, GOP, that's what makes him special. And then there are other things that make him special, but that's what makes him really special. Okay? The rhetoric or his personality, that's like a completely different topic. But it's light years away from, and it's not even, it's so unimportant compared to what he stands for in terms of bettering the planet and the world. You have a situation in Europe right now where there's never-ending conflict. It is a year anniversary, and Democrats do not. If you said, how long will you allow this to take place? They wouldn't tell you. They don't care. They literally wouldn't. They would say, as long as it takes. They don't really care. They don't really care about a time frame. They don't have a time frame, nor do they have a definition of victory. They have no time frame. They have no definition of victory. So they have no time frame, no definition of victory, and it's like you ask, well, what has Biden done that has benefited the planet or the country? Very few people can name a specific thing. Sandro, hello. Very few people can name it. I can name 10, 20, 30 things off the bat. Tariffs, okay, the tax cuts and the tariffs, Democrats did not reverse. We still have the same tariffs towards the most populous country in the world. We still have his tax cuts. They did not reverse the tax cuts. They did not end the tariffs. And there's a reason for that, because they worked. Because they worked. And this is Trump right here. This is a very interesting statement right here. Check this out.
And if you put me back in the White House, their reign is over. Their reign will be over. And they know it. And America will be a free nation once again. We're not a free nation right now. We don't have free press. We don't have free anything. In 2016, I declared, I am your voice. Today I add, I am your warrior. I am your justice. And for those who have been wronged and betrayed, I am your retribution. I am your retribution. Not going to let this happen. Not going to let it happen. I will totally obliterate the deep state. I will fire.
So you have a situation, ladies and gentlemen, where they find this so reprehensible. Like the Washington Post, the New York Times, MSNBC, CNN, they would find that so reprehensible because they don't understand why anyone would want retribution. But you have a situation where we have been plunged into a Cold War hysteria where we couldn't talk where not only on Twitter, for we'll use Twitter, but there's every platform up until recently, hopefully, but every platform, especially Twitter, we couldn't even voice our opinion or viewpoint on any major topic without being silenced. And that's not only conservatives, it's also progressives. It's anyone that doesn't fall into a specific category, a groupthink of thought. That's why Trump talks about political retribution. That's just one example. And you talk about canceling and erasing people from existence. What Democrats have done is they found a way, since nobody listens to them or their ideas, nobody really cares about the major Democratic Party ideas. They found a way to silence they found a way to silence and really just prevent any opposing viewpoint. They found a way to intimidate and coerce and create a fabricated consensus. And there are a great many ideas or ideologies that exist now that President Obama in 2012 would find absurd. Okay, Marjorie Taylor Greene in 2023 and President Obama in 2012 are almost the same people. You might find a person might hear that and say, "What are you talking about? You're nuts." Think about what I just said right now. Lauren Boebert and Marjorie Taylor Greene and President Obama and definitely Vice President Joe Biden are essentially the same people. In 10 years, and I mean 2016 President Obama is pretty close to Marjorie Taylor Greene on a number of topics. I'm not gonna dive into the reasons because again, we're constantly being monitored at all times. But if you look at social ideology, if you look at the way society is run, social a viewpoint of society, a viewpoint of education, definitely okay, President Obama 2012 or 2008, even more so. 2008, he opposed George W. Bush. I believe he called Bush a criminal or that he committed crimes. I believe President Obama and one I think that he called the invasion illegal. And so again, yet another intel catastrophe. But you look at President Obama in 2008 and Marjorie Taylor Greene in 2023. They have the same viewpoint on education, the same viewpoint on society, the same viewpoint on foreign policy. Tell me where their viewpoint, I mean, yeah, different in term, perhaps the fiscal here and there, yeah. The ACA, yeah, they would differ on. Yes, yes. But President Obama in 2008 and 2012, probably 2016, has the same viewpoint on society in general, or at least education, at least sports, let's say, or societal norms or norms prior to this generation or this. They have the same viewpoint. The old school, I wouldn't say old school Democrat, but the Democrat of 10 years ago is the Republican, the populist Republican of today. The Democrat of '08 is the populist Republican of today on foreign policy. On foreign policy, yes. President Obama and Lauren Boebert and Marjorie Taylor Greene and Matt Gaetz and Jim Jordan and James Comer and Trump are the same. Okay, then President Obama changed. Okay, but you have to ask yourself, okay, well, what happened the past couple of years? Okay, essentially what took place is that the average Republican is more liberal on social issues. So then Democrats said, okay, they have to then push the envelope in terms of certain viewpoints, or at least they have to find a way. They have to find wedge issues or issues that they can say, oh, well, we stand for this cause or that cause, and the mean Republicans don't. So then they become even more left-leaning than President Obama was, much more. Then Biden comes in and says, well, it doesn't even address it. Doesn't address any of the topics that are, big topics discussed or debated now. But let's listen to this again. It's very interesting.
And if you put me back in the White House, their reign is over. Their reign will be over. And they know it. And America will be a free nation once again. We're not a free nation right now. We don't have free press. We don't have free anything. In 2016, I declared, I am your voice. Today I add, I am your warrior. I am your justice. And for those who have been wronged and betrayed, I am your retribution. I am your retribution. Not going to let this happen.
They engage in a great deal of political retribution towards Trump. Okay? A great deal of political retribution towards Trump. And they engaged in a tremendous amount of political retribution. They set him up and framed him, which is obvious. And the rebuttal is, well, the inspector general found that there was no bias. Like, no. The inspector general found no documentary or testimonial bias. Nobody was going to testify, and nobody was going to write down how much they despise Trump. Okay, that was never going to happen. It was never going to happen. So they created a Red Scare, McCarthy era world. 2012, President Obama stated, the 80s want your foreign policy back to Mitt Romney. Okay. I mean, this is a completely different world within the past just 6, 7 years, not even 5 years. It keeps getting, and by the way, we can't, the rebuttal that we would issue via, Twitter or any other platform it's increasingly difficult up until hopefully recently, because they know that there's an immediate rebuttal. The thing that I like about Trump is that if you didn't like Trump and you just focused on policies, no. Um, J Spot, I don't. The super chat is working. The super chat is working. It's next to the add reaction and engage with your audience. Well, here, no, that's mine. So I appreciate, I do appreciate you watching for a long time. I do appreciate that very much, and thank you for that. J Spot, it does work. Um, they couldn't go after Trump because if they didn't like him, they could have said, "Look, I don't like your policies. I don't like tax cuts," and left it at that. They could have said, "Look, I don't like tax cuts. I don't like, you know what, the concept of the wall, not good, doesn't help." But what they do is they create a myth. They created this obsession, this hysteria. So now you have all of these problems taking place, and Zandog, thank you. And Trump's policies would have benefited the country in every way. They did benefit the country. We had record low poverty in 2019. You can look at the economic data. You could go to the St. Louis Fed, the Federal St. Louis Federal Reserve site. You can look at all the economic data. What took place with Trump was that our country was much stronger than it is now. It had better standing in the world, objectively better. We did not have an invasion in Europe. We did not have egg prices through the roof. Um, we did not have the inflation that we have now. We did not have the crime. We did not have the homelessness. Democrats pushed to shut down economic activity. If you didn't do this or that, it was a big problem. People lost their job. If Democrats don't force or enforce or coerce through economic incentive, nobody listens to them. Okay, Trump, you can vote for Trump, you can dislike Trump all you like. He's not going to make you lose your job for it. Okay, you could say whatever you like in life. He doesn't really care. Trump Republicans don't care. I really don't care. I'm not a Republican. I like Trump, and I'm conservative on most things now, or a lot of things now. More things. If Medicare for all single payer worked, it'd be fantastic. It's not for 320 million people. It ain't working. You'd have to double the triple tax collection. Even then, it wouldn't work, according to New York NYU. I believe is NYU. So I don't want never-ending military conflict. That's the main reason to vote for Trump. That's why it's a moral imperative. Trump is not the person to just simply send hundreds of billions of dollars to an invasion or tens of billions, almost 100 billion to an invasion with no end in sight. It's a year now. So when the Democrats want it to end, well, there's no end game. What's the victory? What does victory mean? When you cannot define victory in life or in foreign policy or in economic policy or in life in a relationship with a significant other, what is happiness? What is victory? What's the end game? Well, Democrats don't care. They just want to, you know what, till the bad guys lose. It's like, well, that's not happening. That actually is part directly related directly to their national security. They consider it part of their survival. So, Janet, Janet, thank you. Round two. I'll just say round two. Round two. Hello, Janet. Thank you, Janet. Thank you. Thank you so much, Janet. To my super chat. Thank you. Cannot do this without you. If you don't like Trump, that's fine. See, I don't like Biden, but I don't despise him as a human being. I don't even dislike Hillary Clinton or Bill Clinton, or I don't dislike them. I don't have any contempt for them. They commit, well, Hillary committed crimes with the servers, major crimes. You can't transfer top secret intel outside the US government. Not possible. Janet, thank you so much. So kind of you, Janet. I don't look at Hillary or Joe Biden or Hunter. Hunter definitely committed crimes with Joe. It's within the New York Post specific emails. Okay? How can you use your influence on the company's behalf? And then the influence is then utilized on the company's behalf or before or after the email. It doesn't really matter. I don't judge Hunter. I don't judge Joe. I don't judge Hillary. I don't judge anyone who votes for them. I don't really care. I don't put friendship above I don't put politics above friendship. I put friendship and family above politics. Politics is what I do. That's my job, my YouTube channels, and I'm going to try to branch out this year. I would love to start interviewing some WWF, WWE legends, for example, and some pretty awesome YouTubers and some pretty awesome politicians, and we'll see if we can make it happen. Janet, thank you again. I don't put politics above friendship. So let me ask you this: do you know somebody? Do you know family? Do you know family or friends? Do you know family or friends who put politics above friendship? Because that is a serious character flaw. Username, hello. Eric, hello. Do you know anyone who puts politics above friendship? Because that is something that exactly Zandog. I know the feeling. I know the feeling. Probably the same for me as well. They don't like. Here's the thing, it's like they keep making politics into this cataclysmic. When Trump talks about retribution, what he means is getting back to 2008, 2012, 2016. I want to get back to being able to speak your mind just like 2016. By the way, we're still in 2016. It's a quantum physics. We're still stuck in 2016. We've never left 2016. You watch. I know people say I'm nuts, but I think Hillary Clinton is going to be the 24 nominee. Janet, thank you again. Thank you, Eric. Thank you. To my super chat, thank you. Let's continue with some other things that Trump said. So let's look at here. Hold on. So so check this out.
By the way, where's Hunter? Where is Hunter? Remember? Where's Hunter? Will there ever be a time when Joe Biden says, this thing with Hunter just isn't working out well? I'm starting to get a little angry at Hunter. Or when Hunter comes to him and says, Dad, we have a problem. What? What is it, son? Another one? Oh, son, you're a disaster, son. Son, you're a disaster. Dad, we have a problem. I left my laptop at the repair shop. And Joe looks at him and says, what's on it, son? What's on it? And Hunter looks back and he says, every single crime that you've ever committed, Dad.
So you look, ladies and gentlemen, and it's like they hide. It's right there. American Girl. American Girl, thank you. AHA, glad to catch you live. Been watching your great content. Love the speech tonight. Measured, strong, to the point, without anything over the top or real. Exactly. 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 Absolutely. Love trucks. Hello. Thank you. Janet, American Girl, exactly. It was a fantastic speech, and it got you. It got me. This is the Trump that needs to be front and center every day. You know, the biggest problem, and American Girl, thank you. If people could actually listen to even the people who despise him, if they could listen to him, if they could just listen to him, just take a second, like an actual clip. I mean, they might not like this, but the thing is, I think that he doesn't want to peak too early, so he's kind of playing the long game here. American Girl, thank you again. America 2016, hello. American Girl, thank you again. To my super chat, thank you. Janet, thank you. Paul Bartlett, thank you. Let's listen to this again. Actually, you know what? Hold on 1 second. Let's go ahead and hold on 1 second. This is why you vote for Trump. This right here. This is the most important reason.
I was the only president in modern history who did not have any new wars. No new wars. I finished some old ones. I was the only president in modern history who did not have any new wars. No new wars. I finished some old ones.
No new major military conflicts under Trump. And I mean, that's the main thing. That's the moral imperative. I don't understand why nobody cares about military. Endless military conflict. I remember telling one person, and he said, "Oh well, they're not being our soldiers aren't being attacked." What? You're okay with them just being? They're like, oh, it's not that they're there. What does that even mean? Why are they even there in these places? And I'm not getting into the specifics of what the person said and how, but it's like they don't really care. See, it's not, this is the thing. If you're a morally superior, highly educated liberal Democrat, you see the world as um, there's a hierarchy, just like there are a list of things that you want done that you think are morally, it's part of your morality, even though like politics and morality are two different things in my view. I mean, they do merge. Obviously, you don't want unjust. Well, you don't want unjust wars. Okay, that's something you don't want. But you don't want um, legislation that hurts people. Okay, but aside from that, a wall, for example, is not an immoral thing. They've turned it into a bigoted, prejudicial, oh my God, existential issue. It's like, no, if it protects people from, um, let's just say, items that are sent into the country because there's a demand, unfortunately, in this country, then there's nothing wrong with it. What would be wrong with it? Like, if Trump was able to build that wall, a lot of the problems that we see today, a lot of the issues that we see today wouldn't have taken place. There are more atrocities now pertaining to that topic, immigration, than there ever was during Trump's administration. And I disagreed with one element of Trump's policies, and he reversed that. And Democrats made a huge, rightfully so, but they pretended that they didn't do the same things, and they did. Those cages were built during President Obama's administration. And so you have a situation where they don't really want, if you look, ladies and gentlemen, you look at the aggregate picture, you look at the bird's eye view of what's taking place. Trump's policies worked. Okay, Democratic policies do not work. Shutting down the economy, Web City, USA, hello. Shutting down the economy was a Democratic policy. They hid behind, oh, Trump, he he downplayed you know what, and so therefore we had to tank economic activity because he downplayed you know what. It's like, well, no, nobody. You didn't have to do any of that stuff. They didn't have to do any of the things they ended up doing. They didn't have to do any of the things they ended up doing. And by the way, the coercion, people losing jobs, they're it's like so easy. Like the average morally superior, highly educated liberal Democrat, very good person, but very easily manipulated. Easily manipulated. And if you buy, and it comes down to like, if it comes down to a risk reward analysis or sensibilities, like, well, if you say, well, I don't trust you or I don't agree with you, I'm going to do my own thing. No, you can't do your own thing because doing your own thing hurts me. Like, what? You you taking advantage of the Second Amendment hurts me, makes me unsafe. Like, I'll never meet you, man. Don't worry about me. Worry about, God forbid, you needing the Second Amendment one day. Criminals don't care about laws. This is like CNN. I don't want to get into it, but CNN did something really despicable the other day. Even despicable for CNN. I'm not going to get too into it, but it was one of the most terrible things that I've ever seen, really. You had two or three families who lost loved ones to a criminal with a lengthy record who obtained a you know what and utilized the you know what illegally, obviously, because he was a complete maniac and ended the lives of a number of people who should be alive today. What does CNN do? They don't focus on the criminal with the lengthy record who didn't care about laws. They put the grieving families on television, and then these poor people are suffering so much. You see their suffering on television, and the theme of the segment on CNN was more laws need to be implemented. Criminals don't care about laws. That's why they're criminals. That's why this is why, like, the definition, the Democrats don't really like definition, the actual definition of words, so they always use euphemisms. They never actually address the actual definition of a word, because if they actually spoke the English language the way words are actually defined, they would lose arguments based on logic and reason. And so you get euphemisms, lots and lots of euphemisms. And you get an emphasis not only on euphemisms, but on lying by omission. If you can lie by omission, like what CNN and MSNBC do, they actually tell the truth. They tell part of the truth. They focus on emotion. They focus on emotion. And so if they can lie by omission by focusing on emotion, if you can harness certain emotions, if you can emphasize certain emotions, like, oh, Trump, he's a bigot. Trump is a prejudicial bigot. He's a maniac. He's a lunatic, Trump. Then record low poverty. Who remembers? Nobody, even Trump doesn't bring it up. I don't know why. We had record low poverty in 2019. I would love to know the rebuttal to that. It was in Trump's third year, 2019, going into his fourth year. The beginning of 2020, we were at our strongest point in decades in this country. We fell off a cliff financially, politically, in terms of society. It was unbelievable. It was unbelievable what happened. And it couldn't have happened without coercion and without the censorship and the suppression of thought. And that's what Trump is talking about in terms of retribution. If I hear one more time the intelligence agencies say, experts say, survey says. Remember, survey says, studies show. Experts say, whenever you hear consensus says, tune it out. There's almost never a true consensus on any topic, really, other than, like, obviously basic issues. Like, everyone is against terrible things. Okay. But on contentious topics, they're like they'll say, it's they'll say, oh well, most experts believe that's not true. Most experts that they spoke to believe. If you could have in academia, for example, do you know how many professors? Probably, I would say easily 30% to 40% of like all the professors in this country, at least over 25%, around 25% voted for Trump. I saw one, it was like over 20, 1 out of 4 people in academia. Something like 30% actually. I forgot exactly the number. But most people in like colleges, most professors or teachers are liberal. But do you think that if there's a tenured professor, do you think that if there's a teacher, you think that if they're like, oh, I like Trump's policies, what do you think would happen to them? Immediate retribution. That's the retribution Trump was talking about from a different side. People should be able to voice their viewpoint without economic reprisal, without economic repercussions. Because the reality is, and this is the funny thing, people don't listen to Democrats. They don't listen to media. Most Americans don't trust media. Okay? Most Americans don't trust the media. Like 70% of Americans don't trust the media. Look at right now. How many academia voted Trump? So 88% of surveyed Harvard faculty believe Trump has done a very poor job. Of surveyed Harvard faculty, meaning they took, so meaning there's still 12%. There's still 1 out of 10 Harvard professors. Yeah. But see, this is in 2018. In 2018, going into 2019, we had an excellent economy. Um, we the country did not have 6 to 9%, 6 to 8% inflation. Real wages were up, and of the professor, that was just Harvard, but you're talking about very, very liberal. So you still have 12%, which is hilarious. Teachers union smarting after many members vote Trump. And they use words like dangerous. I'm not talking about professors. I'm talking about like just media. Like you look at this like how much if you had a media that was apolitical, if you had a media that didn't obsess, if you had media that just didn't obsess, okay? It didn't obsess. Matthew, hello. It's like the public relations polls are like, oh, the professors that we spoke to. Well, I mean, was it all Harvard faculty? Probably not. But anyway, it was something around along the lines of like 25% of academia in 2016 voted for Trump, but more than that, actually 30%. And it's like, well, what happens to you if you let people know that you voted Trump? Here, this is good. This is a good one too. See, if there's no economic repercussions, almost everything Trump says, people would be talking about freely. I'm not saying everything. I'm not saying everyone would agree with Trump, but you would have the things he talks about addressed freely and openly. But it's like forbidden. It's like things that the First Amendment is become an extension of liberal sensibilities. So, and if they lie about Trump, by the way, if they say, "Oh, he's a Kremlin operative," now that's okay, I guess. There are no repercussions there. There are no repercussions there. All right, let's see here.
We had a Republican Party that was ruled by freaks, neocons, globalists, open border zealots, and fools. But we are never going back to the party of Paul Ryan, Karl Rove, and Jeb Bush.
So, and he's right, but here's the problem. The Paul Ryan, Adam Kinzinger and Liz Cheney voted alongside Trump, voted with Trump 90+% of the time. Okay? They voted with Trump 90% of the time. So, how do you go from voting for Trump 90% of the time to, being so against Trump? Oh my God, it's a moral imperative to be against Trump.
But we are never.
This was the best part of his entire speech.
Party of Paul Ryan, Karl Rove, and Jeb Bush. But we are never going back to the party of Paul Ryan, Karl Rove, and Jeb Bush. But we are never going back to the party of Paul Ryan, Karl Rove, and Jeb Bush.
It's really funny too when Democrats talk about, oh, sensible Republicans. They don't. It's like a football team is like, oh, that's a sensible rival. We can defeat them no problem. You don't want adversaries that can defeat you. You want sensible adversaries. It's not for a liberal Democrat to say what is a sensible conservative. That's not like, that makes no sense. That makes no sense at all. Okay? That just it makes no sense at all. And that's, I mean, like, you get this really funny, you get this really funny um justification for being so apoplectic and hysterical against Trump. It's kind of like this well, I'm not against all Republicans. It's not a big problem. A sensible, exactly. A sensible rhino. They want Republicans that agree with them, and so it's a one party rule. We'll have one party beholden to media and intel agencies, and you won't be able to actually speak your mind. If there's a consensus, a fabricated consensus, you have to disagree. Anything that's viewed as bigoted, no matter what, even if it isn't, basically your livelihood is done, and even policies that have nothing to do with bigotry, like there's nothing bigoted or prejudicial about a wall, like nothing, absolutely nothing. Okay, but Democrats will turn it into this cataclysmic situation where if you allow this, oh my God. So it's he really is in many ways a type of political retribution. That they did not allow him to have an actual functioning presidency. Okay, now there were missteps that he made. They were missteps that he made. It wasn't his fault. I mean, you can't really blame the man because it was his first time as president. So he really didn't understand what his political opponents were capable of. Okay? He now understands that. He didn't understand. Now, again, if he doesn't find some way to make peace or some kind of detente with Arizona and Georgia Republicans, there is no way for Trump to regain the Oval Office. To my super chat again, Janet, American Girl, Paul Bartlett, everybody here, thank you. Thank you so very, very much. Round two, thank you. But I mean, .com, hello. DeFreak, hello. J-Hold, hello. Um, Dark Meta, hello. If he doesn't make peace in some way with um if he doesn't make some kind of peace or some kind of detente with the Georgia and Arizona Republican parties, then we'll have I think Hillary Clinton will be the next um I think that Hillary Clinton will be the 24 nominee for the Democratic Party, and she could very well win. If she can get Georgia, if she can get Georgia and Arizona, because the Republicans there are more than fine with Democrats in the Senate and Democrats in the Oval Office. The Republican Party in Georgia and Arizona, they're actually just content with not even the somewhat governing in their own states, even though you have a Democratic governor in Arizona now. How Arizona became how a red state like Arizona became blue is unbelievable to me. That's unbelievable to me. That shows, in a way, how I don't want to use the word weak, but how weak the Republican parties are within Arizona and Georgia. They were outsmarted and they did not understand the I don't think they really understood the importance of media within their own states, because you have the top paper in Arizona and the top paper in Georgia. The top newspapers in Georgia and the top newspapers in Arizona are firmly against the Republicans at all times. At all times. So they haven't found a way to circumvent that or address that um, disadvantage. That's a huge disadvantage within. That's a huge disadvantage. Um, that is a huge disadvantage within um, state politics. If you cannot get any positive media coverage within your state, that's a problem. And these are red states too, so it's really interesting. Like the Republicans, Trump, they should like what Elon Musk should do next. Like the next thing he should do is buy up a whole bunch of newspapers and make what if you had newspapers that were just apolitical or as objective as possible, people would then gravitate towards Trump even more. If Jimmy Kimmel, Seth Meyers, Stephen Colbert, The Times, Washington Post, former Twitter that silenced everything. I mean, every publication, Vanity Fair, Esquire, Time Magazine, The Atlantic, every single publication, Hollywood, tech companies, all against Trump. If you had publications throughout the country that were like the New York Post, or even like somewhat conservative, like the Wall Street Journal, it would be no contest. You have an entire public relations monstrosity against Trump, and still almost half the electorate always sides with Trump. I mean, think about that for a second. All right, everybody. Hey, God bless you all. I'm going to be doing a live stream tomorrow at around 3 o'clock. The Freak! My feeling liver. Thank you so very much. Thank you, The Freak. Thank you. Um, I am going to be doing 2 live streams, at least one, likely 2 live streams a day starting tomorrow. And so I agree with you. The Freak, he should buy Univision. He should. Um, I'll be doing 2 live streams. I'll have a live stream tomorrow at about 3 p.m. or so. And I'll have another live stream tomorrow at around 8, 9 p.m. Thank you, Zendog. Thank you. Tell your friends about this channel. March is going to be very interesting, I think. And April and May as well. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe, everybody. And ladies and gentlemen, Paul Bartlett, American Girl Janet, everybody here, thank you. Be here tomorrow, 3 p.m. Pacific time, everybody. 3 p.m. Pacific time. We'll have a live stream tomorrow at around 3 p.m. Pacific. Thanks, everyone. See you tomorrow, everybody.